we have a wonderful thing to ponder today. Actually, every time we come together, we have a wonderful thing to ponder. And in pondering it, maybe allow it to sink into us sufficiently, to move in us sufficiently, to move us in the direction of our good unfolding. And as our good unfolds, everybody benefits around us. Everybody benefits. So we are looking in this year, we're studying the wisdom of truth and the visionary, evolutionary process of our spiritual lives. That's for the whole year. Well, it's for our whole lives, actually. But this month, we're just looking at becoming more connected with that power and with that presence and with that infinite intelligence in a viable and experiential way, so that as a result of our acknowledgement and our consciousness of that presence and our connection with it, and then our engagement in it, our lives are lifted up. Our lives are blessed, not just individually, but collectively. Because as I am in my individual self, I influence all of the collective through consciousness. Because my consciousness is everywhere present, just as yours is, because it's of the one. So your consciousness is omnipresent, as is mine. So what we're endeavoring to do is to understand today, as Reverend Catherine was pointing out, that we're never going to be any more divine than we are in the moment. Now, I know that that really sounds very strange to most of us, because I know that most of us feel far from divine at the moment, anything but. But nevertheless, the wisdom of the ages, which is one wisdom, the truth of the ages, which is one truth, and that never changes, is that as my Creator is, so too am I. In its image and likeness I am made. And the way I am in the image and likeness of my Creator is in my consciousness. I came out of divine consciousness as part of divine consciousness to experience divine consciousness. But of course, once we enter into a material form on a material plane, and three-dimensional planet Earth is a pretty dense plane as far as material is concerned, matter is concerned. It's hard to remember the who of us and the what of us, and wake up again into the understanding that all of this is just a playing field for a couple of minutes at the very most in the scale of eternity. It really is a very small, minuscule drop in a very large ocean, this experience on planet Earth. But nevertheless, you and I want to make the very most of it. And today, since it is Super Bowl day here, we can think about the game of life and how to play it, as Florence Scovel Shinn points out very clearly in a book entitled The Game of Life and How to Play It. And we're talking about playing it spiritually, how to show up and be the spiritual beings that we are. Because our sole purpose on this plane is truly not to keep seeking and have the need to keep seeking more information, more knowledge about this thing called God. Not at all. That's not our purpose. Our purpose here is to experience more of this thing called God, life, infinite intelligent presence, whatever you want to call that thing that's unnameable. And so unknown really by the human mind. But remember, we're not just human, we're also divine. And the divinity lies within our consciousness, our soulfulness. Our eternality is the soul of us that continues, the breath of us that continues, the energy of us that continues. And so that's what we want more of. We want to experience more of this thing called life, this thing called God, this thing called the presence, this thing called the one, whatever it is, we're all calling it. Which brings me to the point that we need to understand once and for all, there's only the one life, the one presence, the one infinite being, and all of us find our own path to it. And there are many paths to recognizing, coming to our senses and realizing the true essence of our being. Many, many paths. And we shouldn't be holding up our noses about any other of the paths that people are on because they're not on ours. Doesn't matter what path you're on, as long as it's a spiritual path in the sense that you want to be the best of yourself and you want to realize your whole beingness. And as long as you're doing no harm on the path you're on in returning back to the inner self of yourself, your path is beautiful, it's fine, it's terrific, it's great, it's your path, it's what's calling you. And we cannot be defined by whatever path we are on, or we cannot be discriminated against because of whatever path we are on. There's one power, one presence, one infinite being. That's all. Now, there are bazillions of aspects to that one power, and many people call those aspects gods, minor gods if you like. But there is only the one God. God is probably the most prominent name that has been given to it by the people of earth. But remember, it's the great unnameable. Because when you name anything, I keep reminding us, you limit it. Put a label on anything and it's limited to the label we've put on it. And we are not labeled. We are given the opportunity to be everything that we can be, yes, in spite of the fact that so many of us feel like we're on our last leg at the moment, that we're on our spare, if you like, the spare tire of ourselves. And we don't see another one replacing it, you see. That's the human way of thinking, and it's very common, and it's not unusual. It's what we do here best. We like here on planet Earth to live at the lowest common denominator of life, most of us. And remember, it only takes 51% of us to get to the at least medium, the middle one, on the way to the highest common denominator. So I am saying today, and every moment I get the opportunity to be with you, that regardless of your circumstances right now, even though you may have cried yourself to sleep last night for whatever good reason, and you may feel at the very lowest ebb in your life, I'm speaking especially to you. This will pass. But you must feel it. You must experience it. You must allow it to express itself through you, because that's the quickest way to healing and coming into integration again. You honor it by allowing it to move through you and expressing it out of yourself. And it's not a good thing and it's not a bad thing. It's just what's happening in your life right now. It doesn't make you any stronger or any weaker. It's just a happening. It's just a movement of energy, a changed energy and a movement of that energy in you until it moves out of you and from you. And it will, if you trust that you are so much more than your sorrow and your sadness and your loss and your ailments and your negative conditions, whatever they might be. If you trust that that is not where you belong, it's not your permanent place to be, and it's transitory. It's transitory. It passes. It really does. Ask anybody who's had miserable circumstances in their lives who thought that they would never be the same again, and they will tell you otherwise. They'll say, yes, they're not the same again. They've changed, but they've changed for the better. And life became good again, and blessed again, and wondrous again, because there was that shred of the light of faith within them that believed something more than the circumstances they were in. Now, that's where many of us are at the moment. We cry a lot at the moment. Have you noticed that? We cry a lot in sadness, in camaraderie, or about the circumstances in our own lives. And that's a good thing, yes. Crying is good. It's the releasing of energy so that you can then start to open yourself up to the power of the breath within you that will heal whatever it is that needs healing and take you through the experience. But don't feel that you're any less of a person because you're in dire circumstances, or you're in deep grief, or you just don't feel like anything is right. You're not any less potent or powerful than ever you've been. It's just covered up at the moment because there's too much debris flown at you at this time. But you're strong, you're able, you're capable, and you will burst through that debris as long as you keep your faith and trust in the great self of yourself. And know there's something more for me than this. There's something more for me to this, and it's good, and I'm supposed to have it. There's something more for me, and I'll keep knowing that. I'll keep knowing that until I can feel that. And once I feel that, it's going to happen. But until we can feel it, nothing changes. That's why sometimes we have to assume the feeling of the desired state or place to be so that it can happen. Okay, you might call it spiritual pretending. Well, it works. You might call it fake it till you make it, but it works. When good is in your mind, when good is in your mind, when your intentions are good, so that you can get back to full power and full strength, so that you can then, because of your experience, be a wonderful assistance and help in the world, and especially with people who are going through a similar situation that you have come through and survived well, you see. There's no use talking about all this great spiritual theory and so on and so forth if we don't first and foremostly acknowledge where we are right now in the very depths of despair for some of us. Not feeling like any of this stuff works. It's for the birds. Everybody goes there from time to time, even if it is only momentary. Everybody doubts from time to time, even if it is only momentary, and sometimes it's a long time. That's why we talk about desert experiences. We talk about the dark night of the soul. We talk about the wilderness experience and so on. All the great ones had them. All the great ones went through hell and back before they were able to relieve themselves of all of the nonsense that the egoic mind would work havoc upon us from. See? And the egoic mind is so used to being in control of us, in charge of us, that it doesn't let go very easily. And any of us who have been endeavoring to keep it in check knows that. And yet, that's not the boss of us. That's not the truth of us. That's a little imp trying to distract us from our true and real selves. Now, I can say until I'm blue in the face and you are blue in the face hearing me, you are a point of light through which the infinite chooses to express itself in all of its magnificence if you allow it to do so. There must be consent here, for the divine never imposes itself. There has to be a mutual agreement and a consent from us so that that good can express itself through us. And for that to happen, I need to be okay with wherever I am, in whatever misery I'm in. I have to know, okay, I'm in this for some experience. There's a pony in here somewhere, and there is so much horse manure all over the place. It must be a herd of ponies at the moment. that's going to come out of all of this. So there is a good in everything. The great poet a long time ago said, no sorrow will your heart betide without a comfort by its side. And you get to decide when that's going to be. You get to decide how long you need to be in the state you're in before you're finished with it. And the quickest way through it is to be okay with it, is to go with it. It's to go with the flow of the loss or the mourning or the situation or the circumstances, whatever it is, go with the flow without being afraid of it, without fearing it, and knowing that something greater than all of that is in you and moving through you. And if you evoke it, it will move this stuff out of your experience. So the way for that to happen is to lean into the presence, into the power, into that wonderful, infinite, intelligent life force, the one. And the thing is, when you and I go within, we are not going within to our spirituality. We're not going within to our goodness. We're not going within to our strength. We are not going in to our knowledge. Not at all. When we go within, we are going into the infinite, invisible power and presence of the divine, the one. And we're allowing ourselves to bathe ourselves in that, to cleanse ourselves in that, to slough off all we don't want in that, and trust that it will. It's the super soap of the soul, just to know I'm in the presence and the presence is in me and the presence can flow through me magnificently if I get out of its way. It's bread and butter stuff. It's not holy, holy, holy sanctimoniousness. It's bread and butter stuff. It's like any relationship. If you and I want to be all that we can be, there has to be a healthy, thriving relationship between myself and my source. And like any relationship, for that to happen, I need to work on it. I need to pay attention to it. I need to give it time. And the most important thing in healing, in mending, in fixing, in letting go of what we don't want, in attracting the good we want is this one thing. And it's called relaxation. Without it, it's not going to happen. So you and I have to spend time on ourselves to bring ourselves down out of anxiety and concern and fear. And we love to begin that process by just focusing on the breath. Just know I'm breathing in and I'm breathing out. I'm breathing in and I'm breathing out. I'm breathing in and I'm breathing out. I'm breathing. I'm one with the breath. I'm only conscious of one thing now and I'm breathing. And I see and feel how it affects my body as I'm breathing in and how it affects it as I'm breathing out. I'm just breathing. That's all I have to do right now. Nothing else to do. Focus on the breath. It takes the edge off us and it takes the anxiety out of us because we're singularly focused on just one thing, the breath. We take ourselves down into that state of resting the mind, stilling the body, so that we can what? Only one thing, listen. Listen. Listen to your intuitive, infinite, intelligent voice within you that will guide you and guard you and keep you on the path of your unfoldment. The answers will come. The knowledge will dawn. The intuitive instinct will prompt you all the time. That's how we do it. And it's like anything else. It requires practice. The dancer, the artist, the athlete, the singer, whatever, the cook, the chef, whatever, they all have to practice their art. And they do. And they're never satisfied. They never arrive at a stage where they say, I'm accomplished, this is it. No, guess what? They keep practicing. They keep honing their skills. They want to express more of this genius that is theirs. And they work on it gladly and passionately and powerfully to do that. It's on their minds when they go to bed at night. It's on their minds when they get up in the morning. Their passion, their calling. And that's what it takes for you and for me to grow spiritually. It has to become our passion. It has to become something that's on our mind last thing at night and first thing in the morning. It truly does, and throughout the day. And I'm going to recommend again, for those who have phones or watches or whatever that can ding on the hour, remind you on the hour, not all the hours, I would say maybe whatever is suited for you, whether it's 8 to 8 of a day or 9 to 9 of a day or 10 to day of a day, whatever, for 12 hours be dinged. And when you're dinged, remember, I am in the presence and the presence is in me, and the presence now I'm calling forth to flow through me magnificently in everything I'm doing, in all I'm thinking and saying and being. May the presence be what is visibly seen as the energy that I am. There's what we can do. And I'm calling upon us today, if you want to be happy, the quickest way to happiness, this is proven over and over again, the quickest way to happiness is to make somebody else happy. Make somebody else happy, and you'll be happier than what you've made them as a result. But then, don't take my word for it, just test it out. And remember, what we're focused on this year, we're focused on, as our love cry, I am, therefore I can. Because Spirit by means of me is the doer. Now that's the message for today. So cheer up, everybody. And if you want to have a good cry and bawl, cry and bawl. Whatever it takes for you to release that energy that's pent up within you, that's causing you to be stopped and blocked. Go with the flow of it, bless it and praise it. For it is a messenger that's saying, look, come on, this is your cleansing, your program here. Come on, go with it. Just spit it out, spit it out. Howl at the moon, scream up into the heavens, pound the pillows, whatever. As long as you're not projecting that any energy on any one person or living thing, just let it out. Relax, release, let go. And then let God be God by means of you, because that's God's intention always, to be itself in you, through you, by means of you. And so it is, and that's that. And now, Reverend Catherine's going to come forward and share something wonderful with us.
We love to share messages with you about how we are meeting our mission statement, which is to honor your presence, to nurture your spirit, and to enrich the lives of all we serve. And this is today's message. I have read and I've heard of people who are grateful for this unusual time that we are all living in, or at least they're finding parts of it to be grateful for. Now, I've taken care of myself during this time and I've stayed healthy, but it was only recently that something happened that I realized wouldn't have happened in other times. Because I am able-bodied and able to get out, I have been able to help others who are not able to do that. A few people I have helped certainly thank me, and they are grateful for all of the chores that I can do for them. But one of them wrote me a beautiful letter explaining in detail her gratitude and her reasons. It was the most touching letter I can remember ever coming to me. It wouldn't have happened in the same way in a different time. And I feel so grateful for what I have received.
How wonderful is that? I mean, and isn't that the very thing that we're talking about? If you want to be happy, make somebody else happy. And you know what, my dear ones? It doesn't take much. It really doesn't take much. People just are so, especially in these times, appreciative for the tiniest little gesture. They really are. So put smiles on faces, ease a load wherever you can. Do what you can with what you have right now, with whomever you can. That's all that's asked of any one of us. And now, my dear ones, we have an opportunity to really be in gratitude, deep gratitude, for the blessings that we have in our lives. So very many. Beginning with the blessing of awakening into a new day, and the blessing of being able to close your eyes at night and give thanks for that day. Because some people who woke up today will not be here tomorrow. And so you and I get to live our day as though it were our last one here. Can you imagine if everybody on this planet lived their day today like it was the very last day on this plane? How the energy of life would just transport us all. Transport us all. Why? Because we'd be very mindful, very conscious of every thought and everything we're engaged in. Don't fall asleep. Don't fall asleep when you've made good intentions and set your goals. Remember, this is Love Month. This is Love Month. And it celebrates so many things this rich month of February. I've promised myself this month I'm going to watch again the beautiful movie on Harriet Tubman. So inspiring in Black History Month. So inspiring. What a woman. What an incredibly spiritually evolved woman. My goodness. You do whatever it is that you're moved to do. But keep yourself open and growing and expanding in your awareness and in your knowledge. So now we're going to be grateful for our enoughness. Knowing that our enoughness is always plenty. And when you feel it's plenty, you can share from it happily and easily. And that's what we do in these moments every time we come together. And we're sharing so that others might be a little bit better off because of our generosity, moved upon us by Spirit's generosity. So we take our gift between our blessing hands and we say, divine love consecrates my gift. It goes forth to heal, to bless, and to prosper all those who give and all those who receive. I rejoice in the sharing of my good, and I release my gift with love. And so it is. And my dear ones, so it is. We have people who come to our door to participate of our food pantry. And I cannot tell you how delighted they are when they receive from you in this way. You bring great comfort and joy. You really do. And you renew people's faith in humanity. So thank you for all of your support, financial support, and your support in all the beautiful ways you are supporting this community. Because of you, and because each and every one of you are in this community, we are doing good in the world. And I want you to know that. So keep the food pantry flowing, my dear ones. It really is needed right now. And keep your energy flowing, and keep your joy up, and keep expressing whatever emotion wants to flow through you without judgment. Just let it flow. Let it flow. And know that you are very well supported here, wrapped up in our prayerful thoughts. And we are here for you however we can be here for you. Let's be here for each other wherever we are. And you don't even have to leave your own home to be a very real and present help. And you know the ways that works. So thank you, thank you, thank you. And now we're going to have our prayer, and we're going to dedicate that prayer to all of those who have made their transition during this time of COVID, and for all those beautiful people whose hearts were breaking as a result of that loss, and for peace on earth and goodwill through all. And so let us pray now, my dear ones. This is what we can know. I know divine love enfolds me, divine light leads me, divine life lives in me, and divine wisdom inspires me. Divine compassion expresses through me, and divine power protects me. All that I am is Spirit's life in expression. It is good and very good. With deep joy and generosity filling me, I go forward now in sacred service, supporting a compassionate world that works for all. I move through my days with grace and ease, in peace and love, in health and wellness, in fullness and plenty, and in loving relationship with all. What I now know for myself, with blessing and in deep gratitude I know for all life. There is only God. There is only God. There is only God, and that God shows up by means of you. And so now, my dear ones, I will love you and I will leave you as the great Andy plays us out with our peace song. And know you're in our hearts and in our minds always. And so farewell, as the children would say farewell, especially Ryan and Isla. Mwah, mwah.